Hi, I'm Terry Lucas, and I got nothing.
I'm Lori Baker, and I went to a quilt retreat last week. I started making string piece blocks on Saturday, and today I finished 144 string pieced blocks.
Hi, I'm Tracy Mooney, and I know thanks.
Hmm?
Hi, I'm Debbie Brown. I'm leaving town in early in the morning, and I've only packed 10 quilting projects for 12 days.
Hi, I'm Michelle Friedman, and I'm glad I didn't have to go after Lori because I don't have an impressive stack of anything to hold up this week.
And this is Quilters Rule the World. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hmm. So, um, Debbie, what'd you buy? What'd you start? What'd you finish?
I finished a few things. I finished a pattern test. I finished an 11-year-old block of the month for my local quilt shop. Taking that to give to a friend of my mom's. I finished a penny mat that I started at Primitive Gatherings in late 23. Hmm, I think that's what I finished.
Okay.
Um, I didn't start anything, but preemptively, I have 10 things packed and sitting in the hallway to go in my car in
Mhm.
the morning, while I'm house sitting. So I will start all of those.
Oh, hey.
And what did I buy? I didn't buy any fabric or thread or projects or anything.
Mm.
I bought an AccuQuilt cutter.
Yeah.
Yay! I'm curious. I can't wait to hear about it.
It'll be fun.
AccuCurious.
Did you
Don't
buy the crank kind or did you buy the electric kind?
I bought the crank kind. I used to have the studio version that
Oh,
I
the
got when my
big one.
friend retired and closed her quilt shop. But it just took up so much room.
right.
So I got the little one. I got the Go Me little one. It's going to take up this much real estate in my sewing room. And then I got the 8-inch cube, and I'll play with those in the middle of the month once I get home. I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks taking care of my mom.
Nice.
So it's a present waiting for me when I get back home.
Hmm.
You will love it. You'll love it because of the accuracy. And when I use mine, I stack the things that I'm going to sew together, right sides together,
And then cut.
and then cut.
Oh, mm,
I just finished a quilt that had 960 half square triangles. I finished the top, so it doesn't count. And one of the projects I'm taking with me has 3,500 half square triangles. So yeah, it would be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Hmm.
it'll be nice.
Hmm. That might be why I bought it.
Yeah.
Feeling every inch the slacker here.
Damn, I didn't buy anything this week.
That was the first thing I bought this. I only bought two things this whole month.
Year.
Mhm.
Same thing. Hmm.
I got the things I bought this last week or 2 weeks ago, this week. So I got my binding that came today. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
Very
How
nice.
wide is that?
Bessie Pearl. It's a half inch. Look
Okay.
at beautiful little like moment right there. That makes me so happy.
So it's going to
So
make a
this is
really thin binding.
it's a linen.
Is
No,
it?
but it,
So yeah, it's for a an ironing board cover. She had a really good tutorial on
okay.
her Instagram, and so I like immediately had to buy 3 yards of this so I could make one. I
As
probably
one does.
that's something. I just always wanted to buy some of her binding, and I'm like sold. But now that I have it, because like this is the most beautiful thing to hold and have, I'm like, ooh, maybe I need to make a dress. So
And
it
then
might be
still
that I
have
need,
one to hold.
Yeah, right. I just need this on everything. That's where I'm at right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I also I ordered some 108-inch backing and it came and I'm very excited. So look at this
Where'd you buy
giant.
it from?
I got it from Linda's Electric Quilts. I could say that in not that voice. I got it from Linda's Electric Quilts. And I ordered it online and it came in a box that had the company name on it. And this is silly, but like I saw that box sitting like on my doorstep and I'm like, it's my backing. So nice job with that. Because I
I
got
had
very
nothing to
excited.
do
It
with it.
wasn't just well, feedback because I loved that. Like I knew exactly what it was and I was very excited and I appreciated the design of the box. I'm so easily like delighted. Um, and then I didn't, well, I started a couple of things, but I wanted to share something instead during this time. I've started to do virtual yoga classes in the evenings that they have some late ones and it's across town. I've just figured out that, oh, I can do this using my computer. And I wasn't anticipating things like I might not have the same props that they have in the yoga studio. And this particular class, she's like, okay, everyone you need 2 blocks. I'm like, I got those. You need a bolster, had a pillow and a strap. And I'm like, oh, ugh, and a strap. But very nearby to me was this quilt sleeve that I had just taken off a quilt.
That'll work.
I'm gonna just say, like, can also double as a yoga strap. So all you quilters slash yogis out there, I'm just saying they can be beautiful and something useful. So it was my, thing, my advice, my moment of like, aha, I'm a quilter and I do yoga and here's what I have. So that's it.
Nice.
I was house sitting another time. I house sit for my sister when she goes out of town, and then I stay with near mom. And I was doing yoga, and I didn't have a strap, so I used the dog's toy, and it was an animal with a long tail, like a fox or something. So you're way classier than I am. It was the only thing I had because I also pet sit for my sister when she goes out of town.
I mean, a dog leash would work perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I was already on the floor, and I wasn't getting up to get that.
No, like this was literally the closest thing. It was on my sewing table because I had just taken it off something to put on something else because that's what we do with our sleeves, right? They just rotate through. I don't know. Does anyone else do that? Have sleeves?
One of the quilts that I have that I occasionally use on my bed if it's not in my car, because that's where all the quilts that I teach with live. Um, that one still actually has the sleeve on the back of it from when I taught at Rhode in like 2021 or something like that. And
Is Rhodes right now, isn't it?
It
I
was
think
last week.
so.
Week.
It's
Last
just over, I think.
Hmm.
I've never been.
Me either.
Me either.
I have. I've taught there a few times.
Debbie and I were there once at the same time.
What?
Yeah, I think we were. It was when the snowstorm happened,
Oh.
right? Yeah,
That road or back where you guys were living?
in New York. This like it was this like massive snowstorm that closed the airports on in the
East Coast.
Northeast. Yeah.
I got an earlier flight.
And Debbie's like, Terry, you need to call like right now. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And then I get stuck in California for 3 more days.
Yeah, one of us made it home.
Yeah,
How
one
was
of
it?
them did not. Yeah, it was, well, at least I got to stay with Jake. So there's that. She's a very good hostess. Um, so, that was fun. We drank wine. As I was driving out there, she's texting, well, I wasn't driving there. I was in a cab. She's texting me, and when you get to the house, you just climb right into bed and take a nap. Because at this point, I'd been up since like 1 o'clock in the morning to get, to get my
Like it never
flight.
happened.
Yeah, so I was like, and then you want to stay awake in a cab because
Yeah.
right? And I'm texting people just I'm alive. Uh, so yeah, the joys of on the road teaching. Yeah,
Well, do we have a topic today? I don't even remember what we said we were going to talk about.
we listen and we don't judge.
Oh, that's right.
But Lori and Debbie have something first.
Mm-hmm.
They have to tell us about their pins.
Their pin situation.
There,
I
yeah.
came prepared.
Shocking.
I have every type of pin imagine. Ooh, magnets are awesome, aren't they? This fell, and I'm using it upside down, um, because I couldn't get it put in so the magnet was the right side up, so the pins are on the bottom, um, because that's where the magnet is now. If you've ever dropped one of these and tried to put it back together, I tried 3 times and went, they came this way. Um, I use these little, or what is that, Teflon silicone pins?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's
I love those. I have all the sizes, but this is the size I like, this orange one. That
what's
I
the
have
length of
smaller
that?
ones and even smaller ones and applique ones. And yeah, I may be getting rid of everything but these. Those are my piecing pins. I have one big pin in here for when I bind a quilt. Because I put a pin in the corner when I tuck the corner, I machine bind. Because I finish 2 to 3 quilts a week and I'm not hand binding that many. So I keep a larger pin in here. Wait, there we go. I have a larger pin, and that's the one that just will stick through all the layers of the corner so I can go around the corner and top stitch it. And that's it.
Nice.
Those are the pins I use.
Sweet. Lori?
Okay, so I don't pin. I years ago when I was really starting to sew a lot, I still had kids at home. And if I got 15 minutes in a chunk of time to sew, really wanted to be able to go fast. So I learned not to have to put in pins because if you put in a pin, you have to stop and take it out. So I don't use pins hardly ever. But if I do, I just have like these 9 jillion different pins that I got from wherever. Some of them are glass heads, some of them aren't. There's actually one corsage pin in here. A
There's a
thing I would like to tell you all about is this little magnetized dish is from Harbor Freight. It's called a parts bin, and it's a perfect size for all of your pins.
And you can magnet it to the bar of your long arm machine.
Yes, you can.
Brilliant.
Mhm.
Brilliant.
And I use corsage pins for that. Sorry, my long arm's over there.
no apologies. That's good.
There's my long arms. Here's my 2 short arms, and I'm not afraid to use them.
Miss Shelley's killing me tonight.
Ooh.
Killing me.
Oh, punchy.
And actually, you can actually say you're killing me, Smalls.
Right.
I just saw an article about Queen Victoria, and they were like restoring her dresses and stuff, and they had them on mannequins. And they says this is how tall Queen Victoria was. She was 4'11", and a woman was working on the collar of the dress while kneeling down. And I showed it to my husband, and I went, "Look, this would fit Terry."
Yeah.
Queen Victoria, it made me think of you.
Yeah.
Of Terry and Queen Victoria.
So who wants to start with we listen and we don't judge?
Well, I pulled it up on my phone so that I could explain what it was, and we'll drop in photos. How does that sound?
Fine.
Terry found this magical thing. And it's from Brian House Quilts on Instagram. And it says, "We listen and we don't judge, quilting edition." Now, maybe everybody raise your hand when I say the thing if you can relate to it. Okay. So, when you take a picture of a cute design in Target, not because you want to buy it, but because you want to make a quilt from the design.
Or the bathroom floor.
Yeah.
Everybody's going, yeah, yeah.
I've totally done that. I've taken a picture of a paper towel.
Right.
I was
Somebody,
in Vegas and I made my husband stand in front of the Luxor. And he was like, "You want a picture of the Luxor?" I'm like, "No, get closer to the lady, closer to the lady, closer to the lady whose shirt I wanted to take a picture of." So I was like, "Okay, honey, say cheese." Okay, thanks. I didn't want to be, creepy or anything.
no, your husband inching closer to this lady just so you could take a break. No, that's not creepy at
It was
all.
crowded, so it was okay. It was
But
crowded. But I'm
it's
like,
Vegas. Come on, it's fine.
the more that way.
I was in Vegas.
Hey, what
Stayed in
happens in
Vegas.
Vegas?
Hmm.
All right, so the next one is when you teach others to quilt, but your own quilt projects sit there untouched. When you finally finish your quilt top, but you still haven't sent it off to the quilter months later.
I think the rest of us didn't raise our hands because
We
I'm the
quilt our
quilt.
own.
we are the quilter.
We are the quilter.
And how many quilt tops do we have waiting to be quilted? Two.
Too.
I even if I put my hands and feet up for fingers and toes, it wouldn't cover it.
No, I have
And I
all this
teach people how to
yarn.
finish their quilts.
Yeah.
22.
Slacker.
Tracy, we need an intervention.
I got 2 done.
We listen
Still
and
need to
we
be
don't
bound.
judge.
I probably have
judging.
20 basted and ready to go.
Okay.
Okay. When you are a perfect paper piecer, but your points are off. I don't think any of us are paper piecers.
Nope.
Not
I
on
can,
purpose.
and I can teach it. However, not my go-to.
Yeah. Same
I like
here.
how perfect it is. I really hate pulling the paper out. I know there are ways. I know there are ways.
But you know what? Sometimes a technique is just not the one that fits us. And it's okay to honor that, right? Like, I don't have to paper piece. I don't need a piece. Just give me a piece of fabric with a design that I've spent 3 days, 10 days designing. Let me quilt it to death. Okay.
I've never been
Almost
in a paper piecing era.
Really?
Um, I don't paper piece. However, I bought something in a previous century um, that I wanted to paper piece, and I just pulled it out because I I had to pull out projects for leaving town to go quilt at my sister's, and my husband was pulling out all the bins because I can't bend over, and so he pulled out all the bins and he's handing out, do you want to make this one? Do you want to make this one? And I stopped like even thinking about counting at about 100 kits. But anyway, this was a kit I bought in like the 90s, and then I ended up
Partner on
working
that.
with the designer. So I promise I will finish this. I have it out. I left it out. And this is a Brenda Girls pattern.
Oh,
And I
really?
got it from Hirschner's catalog in the 90s.
Oh, right. Holy moly.
Mhm. And it's paper pieced hummingbirds.
She's amazing.
Isn't she brilliant?
Yeah.
She is.
Jeez.
Not, and it was just darling. And I apparently thought I was going to make it sometime 30 years ago. Okay, 29. I bought it 29 years ago. Um,
But you've only been quilting since you were like 30, so
I don't know
Uh,
if you can tell how small those pieces are.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
you're gonna have a lot of fun.
It may be another 29 years before I get
Gonna
to it.
eat up so much fabric.
It was a kit.
Don't forget your ruler.
I'm not taking it with me. It hasn't aged well enough yet. It's still in timeout.
It's a good one to leave in timeout.
Yeah.
We listen and we don't judge.
Yeah. When you show up to the carpool straight from your sewing room with strings all over you, I can raise my hand that I have done that.
Have done.
Well,
Uh,
I haven't ever done carpool, so but I do go where my husband sometimes picks strings off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
this is what I would show up with. A
Wow.
shirt 5 pins like this.
Done
I've been
that
in a
too.
doctor's office waiting room, and I get to the doctor, and they're picked threads off of me, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's October. Quilt market is in 3 days, and I've been waiting here an hour. Of course I'm sewing. Of course I'm sewing. I have samples to finish up." But yeah, covered in thread. I'm like, she's like, "You have thread on you." Who? Imagine.
I mean,
Imagine.
shocking.
Shock horror. I'm a quilter.
I went to the chiropractor and he's my cousin, so he knows what I do. And he said to me, "So what are you working on?" I said, "Oh, a quilt. Why? Do I have a thread?" He said, "Actually, you have three and they're all different colors."
Again, normal.
I wear scissors that are clipped on, kind of like a badge, and
Mhm.
it's retractable, little clip. And um, I'm so used to wearing them that if I see, oh, I have a little thread sticking out of the button on my jacket or something, or my shirt or whatever, I'll just go and trim it. And my daughter worked in a bank, and I was in line at her bank, and I saw a little thread on my coat that needed to be cut off, and I'm like, where are my scissors? And so I'm checking everywhere for the scissors that I wasn't wearing, and I'm like, please don't watch the security tapes of that.
Yeah.
Lady in the bank. Uh,
I'm actually just giving myself the old pat down.
Right. Yeah. I was patting myself down. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, nah, it's just Aaron's mom. It's fine.
Okay, next one. When you start a new quilt project, but you have a stack of unfinished quilts in the corner.
There's nothing unusual about that.
Not at all. We don't judge that. When you just finished a batch of blocks, but you sewed them all together the wrong way.
How about those 144 strings, Lori?
Actually, they're good.
Okay.
I was doing one for publication one time, and it was a little bit different way of cutting this thing. And I had like 12 blocks, and I always do things in groups, so I cut them all wrong.
Way to be consistent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So the back of that quilt has all these weird things that I sewed back together, and they make no sense at all the way they're sewn together. And I just always think in 50 years, some lady is going to look at the back of that quilt and say, "What in the world?"
That's not what she's gonna say. Look at this courageous quilter. She did
Right.
something different and avant-garde. All praise Lori.
You have
I
to
was at a
sew.
I was at a quilt retreat like 3 weeks ago, and I was doing a Terry Atkinson pattern, also back from long, long ago. And I sewed every block together backwards. And then when I was I and it was in strips, and I sewed like two of the strip sets together on the wrong side. So I had to make everything wrong or pick them all out. Which did I do? So the entire quilt is backwards. And if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know.
That's right.
Nice.
We
Michelle.
listen and we don't judge.
Mm.
Oh, I sewed a quilt So I had it stacked up so I could chain piece it. And I did the first one wrong. So every single block under it was wrong. And I finished the quilt and it was hanging up. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, why is that? Oh, I made a mistake in that block. And then I'm like, and that block, and that every single block, every single one. And I even sewed a test block and I looked at that and it was right. So I just flipped it that first time and finished the
Yeah,
whole thing. I'm still debating if I want to fix that or not. So, but
don't.
I might because yeah,
Is it a good because?
no, it's just a me because.
That's legitimate, you know. And
Legitimate. Yeah.
yeah, you know my rule. You know my rule, right? It's your quilt, it's your rules.
Yeah. My favorite, one of my favorite experiences teaching a child to sew, um, was my rule was always you sew it, it's show them how to do it. They would do it. If they had a mistake, they got to choose whether or not they wanted to pull it out or not and do it again. And I remember a little girl came up and she had made a mistake. And I said, okay, you have the choice. Do you want to pull it out or can you live with it? And she was like, I can't even look at it. Like, I was like, let's get the seam ripper.
Yeah,
Let's go. You know?
That's I feel that deeply.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you gotta do what's right for you in your heart and your brain, right?
What will
All
my
right.
brain let me do?
Yeah. All right. So here's the next one. When you said you were busy, but you really just wanted to sew instead.
Daily.
Michelle disappeared.
It did disappear.
Well, it's in a group of professional quilters, you're gonna get every hand. Like because our busy is different from other people's busy,
Oh,
right?
and I should have raised my hand. I
I
didn't
get
raise.
I get to say I'm working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just involves a sewing machine.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
I had a meme like at the very beginning of when you could make avatars and there was these you could write your own captions and there was one I did of myself and my daughter and I was at the sewing machine and she had a mad face and the caption was Lily reminds her mother that she actually does need to cook dinner at least once a week because I'm sewing all the time and she'd be like I'm hungry I'll be like 5 minutes I'll be done in 5 minutes. I'll have to find that. It's funny.
A quilter's 5 minutes is like the last quarter and the last 5 minutes in football.
Football.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
totally.
I worked on really tight schedules before Quilt Market, spring and fall, finishing quilts for designers. They would be FedExed in one day and have to be quilted and FedExed out the next day. Or I would take them to Quilt Market and they'd bind them there. Um, and I had teenagers in the house and and I'm quilting and it's round the clock, 20, I was much younger then and could do it. But my son said, "Oh, I really want shrimp scampi." I'm like, "That sounds good. Let me know when it's done." So that's how my son learned how to make shrimp scampi.
That's good.
I like that a lot.
I mean, that's a good dish for a teenager to make.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Not too hard. I think I learned how to make that when I was in high school. Pretty easy. That's a good one. All right. So does anyone have any others that they would add to that list?
Hmm.
When you don't know how to answer the clerk at the quilt shop when she said, "What are you going to make with this fabric?"
Yeah.
As a
I
former
bought it to pet it.
Yeah. I think it's pretty. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's just pretty.
What do you mean?
and I would ask people, but I'd lean in kind of closely and I'd go, it's okay if you don't know, but you do realize if you don't know, that's a minimum 3-yard cut.
That's true.
Agreed.
Because you don't know.
That's
because you
true.
You
don't
don't
know. You
know.
might need
No, no,
3 yards.
3 yards.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And usually they agreed with me.
Yeah. Because you know, if you only buy 1 yard, you're going to find the perfect project and you're going to need like 2 7/8. You know.
And the store will have sold the rest of
Oh,
the
yeah.
bolts when you go
Oh, yeah.
back.
Yes, we would have intentionally. Yeah.
When someone offers you a bunch of fabric and you think it's like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden I have all this new fabric and you find the courage to say no, thank you. Is that one like we listen and we don't judge?
We totally listen and we
Yeah.
don't judge that one because you know
Yeah.
what? Sometimes the fabrics that are in that box do not go in my stash.
I mean, that for me, that's like if
It's a
I can
hard thing sometimes.
thing, like, no, thank you. Normally I'm just like, yes, I'll take all of it, and then now I have 20 more pounds of fabric.
Yeah. Yeah, I've hit that point too. I have to love it.
And for me, it has to be a really good solid that I don't have. And apparently, my solids are lacking in reds, greens, blues, and yellows.
That's because you only buy purple and orange, Terry.
We listen and we don't.
I cut all of my fabric scraps into 2.5 inch squares and sew them together into blocks and then make quilts out of them. I have a pattern every month. So this is February's because I'm done with winter and I needed spring. But cutting them up, I realized I don't have purple or yellow scraps.
I
Hmm.
can help you, at least with the purple.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Those
You
are those are
really don't
my
want me
my
to
weak
send you.
spots.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you really don't want me sending you fabric, do you?
I can go through all of the quilt kits that I have and go, oh, I need some more yellow scraps and start shopping my kits to see what has yellow.
And then when she gets to the kits,
Mhm.
she will have pulled everything.
Terry cracks herself up.
Terry has been up since 3:30 this morning for no
Oh,
reason.
Terry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's very
You didn't
early.
wake me up, did you?
No, but I did that on Saturday, I think.
Yeah. So I brought an empty container up here for pins and
Sharps.
yeah, for sharps.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I think I've got one of those over here too. But we had a whole thing on Quilt and Tell, Lori. Do you remember? I forget who was on the show. Or no, maybe it was Letter. It was someone suggested writing Sharp's disposal on it. Um and actually I just realized there's a bunch of pins in here. I threw out like a whole thing of pins um because they're really pretty,
But they're dinged.
but they're so fat that you can't get it through the fabric. It came in a really cute little like magnetic holder that looked like a spool, and I was like, "Oh, that is adorable. I'm totally gonna get that."
Right?
No good. Threw them all
sometimes
away.
pretty is for pretty. Um,
Yeah.
hey Michelle, I see something behind you.
It's one of my most special um pieces of art that I own.
Hmm.
Tell
So
us about it. Why
Who
is
so
it special?
I, yeah, she needs to tell us about it, but who designed the fabric?
well, so this is fabric that uses some like inside the vase and the flowers are pieces of fabric that I dyed, um, ice dyed, and then the Maywood Studio did a fabric collection with those, and then this was part of a panel that the designers created, which it's so beautiful and so like beyond what I ever could have imagined. All had this vase of flowers, and then under it, it had some blocks with hummingbirds in it. And I was going to an event, and I sent it to Terry, and she quilted it up for the event so I could display it in the booth. And if I stand up and take it off the wall, you want me to do that? Because I could show you up real close. It's really pretty. Let's see. I get to see my butt again. I think you saw it last week.
We can't see it. It's okay.
Little shimmy. So Terry's quilting on this, just it's so beautiful. So you can see how intricate and incredibly beautiful. She went around all of these flowers and then just created this background that is gorgeous, and then created this frame as well. It's really dimensional and beautiful. Literally one of my favorite things I own. And then
If
I love
memory serves, there's a martini glass in there somewhere.
oh, I think it's at the bottom. There's, there's all these like little hidden messages and sweet
I
things.
remember you when you were quilting that. That just triggered the memory that you were showing me when you were quilting it.
Yeah, I would
And
take a picture and send it to Tracy because
Oh,
I was
look what I
trying.
did. Oh, maybe I'll leave it in. I think you were playing like,
this is sweet in the back. But this has been hanging up in my office at work for since you made this for me, and I decided it needed to come home and be with me in my
Look on the
studio.
label. Can you show us the label again?
Yeah.
Okay, so down at the bottom. Okay, I made that in April of 2021. So I actually made it in the room that I'm in right now. What does it say?
Quilters rule. Nice.
what?
That says it right there.
I forgot that I
You
had
manifested this.
I totally for I just made the label. I'm like I needed to get this off to Michelle, so I'm like,
I want to say too, look how pretty you're right.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So label your quilts, everyone. Because it's a treasure. I really love this. So
I loved quilting that for you,
this is really fun.
especially the martini glass.
Let me find it while we're talking. There is one in here. I have found it before. There's so many things in here. Well, we can do that next week, so I'm not like
Like I spy.
Terry
um,
creates I Spy quilts.
Mhm.
so funny. This is now the only thing I see hanging here, but um this is another treasure. It says Lou Savoy. So this was my mom's sister married into this family, the Savoys, and Lou was kind of like my grandpa. But when he died, I got all his sewing tools. I got scissors and his hip curve. That's what this is. So these are like my tools. So now I
Nice.
can't keep up there, but yeah, I've been working, sort of rearranging my space. Look at how empty that wall looks now. Oh, so yeah, I'll keep that up there.
Yay.
This has been the episode of Quilters Rule the World. We're glad you all joined us, and we'll see you next time.